Welcome to the greatness. Daggerheart has updated to version 1.3 and there are significant changes. Let's start with armors and threshold. They both have been reduced. Every class now starts at 1 minor threshold, which means even if you take 1 damage, you will lose HP. In the previous version, minor thresholds ranged from 2 to 5 damage, and if the value was below that, but above 0, you only marked the stress. The update basically removed an extra step in the calculation. To balance the higher chance of losing HP, characters now have a max of 6 armor slots. These are your armor's durability. However, the base value of armors has been reduced. You can spend armor slots to reduce the damage you are about to take equal to your armor value. So if you have an armor value of 5 and you are about to take 5 damage, you can spend an armor slot to reduce the damage to 0, meaning you take no damage. The armor successfully protected you. I am the GM for our group, and during our recent session, I wanted to push the limits of this change and threw tough enemies at the party. First thing that I realized is one person getting surrounded by enemies is much more deadly. Enemies were hitting in the major threshold range, so player armor slots were getting drained quickly. I reduced one player to 2 HP and the rest were at least 4 HP. As the battle went on, it quickly shifted to the player's favor. So far, I had to increase the difficulty every combat encounter, and I'm starting to understand the base stats for adversaries. I will make another video discussing how to create awesome custom adversaries. Honestly, the fact that I can create strong creatures and throw a bunch at the party makes it fun as a GM. I don't have to hold back and worry about accidentally killing them. This also makes it satisfying for players when they conquer these challenges. I absolutely enjoy having no turn order. The narrative smoothly goes from having a conversation to someone swinging a blade in seconds. There is no need to pause to figure out initiative. I have seen comments of people concerned about players hogging the spotlight or others too shy to speak up, but as long as you have a good experienced GM, those will never be an issue. The GM controls the flow. Once a player moves and succeeds on their action, simply ask the party, alright, who's next? For people coming from 5e, it should already be a habit to do 1 setup move and 1 attack action. Weapon damage has been adjusted. Here are the damage averages of my party at level 1. As you can see, melee builds do a ton of damage. So what is the benefit for playing a mage? Let's look at some level 1 mage damage skills. Unleash Chaos hits 4 target. Wild Flame can hit 3 targets and cause stress. Power Push is a great crowd control that can knock adversaries off ledges, bridges, and cliffs. Rain of Blades hits multiple targets. Vicious Entangle can restrain multiple targets, which means they can't move. Mages have variety, plus there are other utility skills. When it comes to abilities, Bard's Rally has definitely improved. Once per session, the player now chooses to activate it whenever the action tracker is in play. Another ability that improved is the Beast Companion. It now has better survivability, and if its action roll is a success with Hope, the Ranger can take an action right after without adding an action token. Death Maneuver's cost has changed to Stress. However, the problem I mentioned in my previous video still remains. Being able to climb 100 feet in seconds during combat or leap 100-foot gaps doesn't sound right. So instead of the GM arguing with the player on the limitations of this ability, I reworded it to define its parameters and be useful. Mark a stress to run within far range, and climb, leap, wall run within close range through the running path, without making any agility rolls to get to your destination. From the sessions I played, the best abilities have been Retaliation. Allows a melee counterattack that instantly deals damage without adding an action token. Prayer Dice, and also Bard's Rally now, have turned failed rolls into successes. Fearless prevents the GM from gaining fear, which comes in clutch. Teva's armor gives a 1d6 bonus to the next armor slot used. Spirit Weapon allows the Seraph to hit 2 ranged targets with 1 attack. These have made great impacts in our campaign. Death in this game is harsh, in a good way. Once you hit 0 HP, you are dead. In D&D 5e, players panic when someone falls unconscious. But in Daggerheart, it's time to panic once you have 2 HP left, since enemies can deal that in 1 attack. There is a mechanic where you make 1 roll for a chance to stay alive, but good luck. Moving on to advantages and disadvantages. You now roll 2 hope die and take the highest of advantage, or the lowest if disadvantaged. So far, we haven't noticed anything game-breaking yet with this change. It does increase the odds of critting though. GM moves have changed during combat, where if a player fails an action roll or rolls fear, the GM can take a turn or gain a fear, not both. Plus, the GM fear max is 6. I already had max fear by the first combat, was able to spend it to strike first, add more action tokens, activate abilities, and intercept the player's momentum on a hope streak by switching the play back to me. At the moment, the change feels fine, but I still want to test it more before making a final decision. A new addition to the playbook is environmental stat blocks. These are great for beginner GMs that want to make their world more alive and immersive. The stat blocks are similar to the adversaries, where their environments have abilities that you can use during play. Example is a busy marketplace with an ability that gives disadvantage on spotting any individuals in the crowd. Another addition is group roles. When the GM calls for a group role, the player in front of the group becomes the main role, and any other player can describe how they assist and make a roll appropriate to the action. If they succeed, it adds 1 to the main roll, and fails, subtract 1. After that, the player in front rolls and adds the bonuses for the final result. I could see this being narratively awesome in certain situations, but when it comes to group stealth rolls, this method doesn't make sense. Like, how do you assist the group being stealthy? You tightly press on your armor so it doesn't rattle as much? You try to hold in a fart? And if no one has a way to assist, then the chance of the party awakening a sleeping dragon relies on one person. In my game, I reworked group roles to involve everyone. When the GM calls for a group role, everyone makes a roll appropriate to the action. Players may ask to assist in other ways, describing how they do so and roll appropriately. Majority must exceed the DC or a group fails. To determine whether a group result is with hope, majority of the group rolls must be hope, and then those that rolled hope gain a hope. Otherwise, it is fear and GM gains a fear. If a tie in successes and failures, then the result being hope makes it a success, otherwise, group fails. If that is also a tie, then GM decides the outcome based on the narrative. This may sound like much at first, but in game it is simple and has kept the narrative flow smooth for our group. Overall, this game is fun and is heading in the right direction. Check out episode 1 of our amazing adventure. Thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing, and until next time, peace.